What's up, Wizards? Dev from SBMTG. Well, we stayed up all night last night to see if Wizards was going to try and throw a couple of cards out. Well, they only threw one out at about 2:30 in the morning, our time here. And that is Dragonlord Kolaghan, the Elder Dragon version of Kolaghan from Fate Reforged. Let's go over this together. So 6 mana, 6/5 flying haste. That seems fine. The bigger the creature, the better the haste, honestly. And all your other guys get haste. And here's the one that is noteworthy. Whenever an opponent casts a creature or a planeswalker with the same name as a creature or planeswalker in their graveyard, they lose 10 life. 10 life! Yeah, you heard that correctly. Let's go over a couple of things with Kolaghan here. First of all, giving all of your guys haste seems really good. We usually see this on, 2 and 3 mana enchantments and creatures and stuff like that. Now on a 6 mana guy, it's not as relevant because you probably won't be playing a whole bunch of creatures after you play this guy. And even the creatures you do play, haste might not necessarily be relevant on a 2 or a 3/3, well, sometimes on a 3/3 definitely, and even sometimes on a 2/2. But it won't be as relevant. I will say the thing about haste is that it makes all of your creatures better top decks because they can swing immediately. That it really changes things in the boards, especially in limited. So it's not a terrible ability, but like I said, we usually see this ability for less cost and not at the very, very tip top of your curve where it's just not as beneficial. Now his second ability, let's talk about this for a second. We got Obnixilis last year and everyone was like, oh, this guy's crazy, if they go to fetch land or tutor, then they're gonna die, And he really didn't see much play at the end of all that talk, and the same thing I think will happen with Kolaghan. I know I'm very discerning, very discriminatory when it comes to what cards I think will be standard viable, and I think that Kolaghan has a shot, but I wouldn't get too wrapped up in this second ability. I will say a couple of things. First of all, I don't like that it doesn't punish them for trying to remove Kolaghan. If they play a creature or a planeswalker, then it punishes them, but if they play, a removal spell or anything like that, it doesn't punish them in any way. And for the same reasons that haste isn't necessarily beneficial to you or as beneficial to you at 6 mana, this won't be as much of a detriment to them at 6 mana. Now, it is later in the game. They will be playing creatures they may have already played, planeswalkers they may have already played. That may be a consideration. But, same token, once the game gets to that point, the 6th and 7th turn, then you're looking to close the game. You're not looking to play, the same guy that you played on the 2nd turn, is my point. And I'm not saying that never happens, but most standard decks are designed to where they close the game out quickly, and they will play multiple copies of the same creature, but usually before this guy will hit the board. I'm running a little long on this video, but I do want to say just one or two more things real quick about Kolaghan. So a lot of the aggressive decks that we see in Standard right now do run a lot of copies of the same creatures. Your blue-white heroics, your Jeskai, your red-white tokens, even your green devotion and your Abzan. Because they all play a lot of Elvish Mystic, a lot of Caryatid, a lot of Courser, a lot of Siege Rhino. Lots of copies of the same guys, and a lot of Standard decks obviously are like that for consistency reasons, because that's how we play Magic. That being said, I do think that this is kind of cool in that, they can't play their Seeker of the Way again. They can't play their Manus Rider again. They can't play their Sylvan Caryatid again. Their Courser of Krufix that you've removed, they can't deal with that. And I think that Kolaghan looks good in a sort of, red-black or Mardu control sort of removal-based deck with Crackling Doom and Stoke the Flames and Murderous Cut and stuff like that. But if you do that, then his second ability, his first ability, isn't as relevant. All your guys have haste thing, but you might not even need that. You could gloss over that line of text, and it would probably be fine in that deck. Again, I don't think that it'll be a better deck than Blue-White Control, all things considered. I think that that's probably the control deck in the format. But this almost seems, my biggest complaint about Kolaghan is that it's win more. It feels like win more. You know, if you've got a 6/5 flying haste, then you don't, like, you're already winning the game. You don't need this, like, oh, you might take 10 damage. But I'm sure that when you're on the other side of the board and you're playing against Kolaghan, it can be very tough to play around at times, you know. Oh, the only card in my hand is Seeker of the Way, and I've got a Seeker in my graveyard, you know. It shuts off access to creatures or planeswalker that they have previously dealt with. Like, I've dealt with this guy, I never have to deal with him again unless you deal with Kolaghan, which is fairly simple, let's be honest. I mean, we've got Radiant Purge right now, we've got Valorous Stance, we've got a lot of things, Murderous Gut, that take care of Kolaghan. You know, I just Abzan Charm. I'm just not really seeing Kolaghan be this enormous thing. We've got a lot of cool cards that keep larger creatures like this in check. And I hate to do it, but I'm gonna give Kolaghan like a flat, well, let's say a 6.75. I know that's super low, but this has the hallmarks of a card that looks a lot better than it actually is. Now, there's going to be a lot of dragons in this format and a lot of high mana cost cards, thus maybe slowing the format down. So we'll see about these higher cost cards when the entire set is spoiled and once we've got to play it for a couple of weeks. But as far as Dragonlords go, I think Silumgar is a better choice mechanically than Kolaghan, guys. That's all for now. Wizards will probably put up more spoilers at 11 a.m. We're about an hour away from that now. But guess when I go to work? I go into work at 11 a.m. So, as soon as we can get some more spoilers up for you guys, we will. We're looking out for you, man. I'm Deb from Strictly Better MTG. We'll see you guys next time.